Steve Alford with the third-ranked team in the country, now 27-3. Coach joins us now. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Very good, Dan. How are you?
Great. The coolest thing in your office is what?
As I look around, that'd be difficult. Obviously, a lot of family pictures, Olympic picture, Pittsburgh Steeler helmet.
Oh, I didn't know you were a Steeler fan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I grew up in Indiana when the Colts were in Baltimore. So,
okay.
So, big Steeler fan, but mostly family pictures and all my teams. I've had 25 teams, so they're all on my wall as well.
Did you play football?
No. Early. Until I got tackled hard, I knew that was it.
But did your dad realize that, hey, I got something special here. I'm not going to let you get hit or hurt playing football?
No, not at that point, because I got tackled hard in sixth grade. I learned pretty early, so it was before I was really any good at basketball either. But I didn't like the tackling part, so I got out.
Larry Bird told me that I asked him when he first got the green light, when he was allowed to shoot whenever he wanted to, and Bird said in sixth grade he was given the green light. When were you given the green light to shoot whenever you wanted to?
That's a hard one. Being a coach's kid, I've grown up, with basketball all my life. So my dad started a bitty ball league in Martinsville, Indiana, when I was in first grade. So I learned shooting on an 8-foot goal, and that was an exciting league. I don't know if I had a green light, but I sure didn't. I didn't fall in love with the game passing it or dribbling it. I fell in love with it shooting that thing.
All right, the most shots you ever had in a game, high school.
That I don't know either. I don't know how many. I know how many free throws. The most free throws I had, I was 25 for 25
in a game.
In my senior year in high school in a game. I don't know how many actual field goal attempts.
All right, now we have a bet here. Your son, great game last night, 8 threes. And here's the question: who is a better shooter right now, today, between you and your son? And I want you to be honest now. Don't be Coach Alford.
Right.
I just want you to be Steve Alford, and there's some kid named Bryce who can shoot it pretty well. So who is a better shooter?
Well, it's easy because you said right now. It's not 87 compared to 17. So right now at the age of 52, what I've noticed, I was the guinea pig in 87. That's the first time the three-point line was put in college. So I didn't grow up with it. Kids today grow up with that line. And Bryce should be the first to tell you that line's been moved back since, he calls it the baby line that I got to shoot at 19.9. But so it's gotten a lot different. I can tell you as you get older, that line gets further and further and further back. So today, there's no question. He's worked really hard at his release. And I think that's where he's really showed a lot of improvement is he gets it off so quick and so high that I never had that kind of release or that kind of quickness on my release. So I'll give him the three-point line, but as far as the 15-foot stripe, I'll still take that.
If you shot free throws, you would beat him today.
Absolutely.
But if I took Steve Alford from 87 and Bryce Alford from 2017, who you got? And who do you think Bryce would say?
I think Bryce probably would say he might say him from the three-point line, but I think he's smart enough. I've told him. I've told him for years. Being an 80% foul shooter, 85% foul shooter is much different than being at 90. It's a much different deal. So I think he'd probably tell you I get the free throw, and he probably gets the three-point shot. He can definitely shoot the three with a lot more range than I ever had.
Steve Alford, UCLA head coach, joining us. Have you tinkered with Lonzo Ball's shot at all?
No. Dan, I'm smarter than that. I was only going to get him for 8 months, so I'm not screwing anything up in 8 months. I leave that kid alone. He's special, Dan. If you could see him every day like I get to see him, he's just he's so very special. And in the last month with our defense, the way our defense has improved, a lot of it has been, I think, Lonzo as well. Lonzo had 2 steals last night on passes he just grabbed out of the air with 2 hands. I mean, he does things every night and every day in practice that his basketball IQ is off the charts, his skill level's off the charts, and his shot, I heard somebody the other day referred to it as the Jim Furyk swing. It may look a little unorthodox, but at impact, Jim gets his club square, and I think Lonzo does a very good job when he releases the ball. He has it on the right side, and it looks good, and it goes in, so I'm not going to mess with that.
He's the Ball brother who plays defense because the other Ball brothers who are coming to UCLA don't play defense, Steve. Right?
Well, I can only talk about Jello, but no, they will. It's just and Zoe's learned that as well. It's just it's a very unique style, and it's up and down, and we've embraced that style here. Obviously, with Lonzo getting out into the open floor, they're just really gifted playing at a high rate of speed. They make, and Dan, you can play fast, but to be able to play fast and make the right decisions, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, Lonzo's got 227 assists to 74 turnovers, and we're playing as fast as anybody in the country. And so playing fast is one thing. Doing it efficiently is a whole other thing.
Well, there's only 3 players in the last 20 years to average at least 15 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. And Lonzo is one of those 3 players. Kyle Collinsworth from BYU and Denzel Valentine from Michigan State. Those are the only 3 players in the last 20 years to be able to do that. So you get to see this on a daily basis, nightly basis. Fultz is pretty good as well.
Right.
But I don't know if he didn't play last night. But here he is averaging, 23 a game. What did you see from him in the first go-around with Washington?
Well, he's very talented. Can really score the basketball. He's got good strength for a freshman. And like Lonzo, a high skill set. I guess, I don't like making comparisons to players, but, I just know I'm around Zoe more often, and I just see the impact. Zoe not only is skilled, Zoe makes people around him better. And I think when you go from being one of those really good players to an elite player, like I think Lonzo is, I think the difference is how you make players around you better. And he does that. And I'm not saying Fultz doesn't have that ability to do that. I haven't seen that yet. I've seen it in Lonzo, and that makes him very, very special.
But you being a scorer, you understand what that means for a team, but also to have Lonzo Ball, you would have been Fultz from the standpoint of getting 23 a night, whereas Lonzo Ball is something that's different in college sports, college basketball, because most of these guys feel like they're out for themselves, especially the one-and-doners.
Well, that's, again, I think that separates Lonzo. You would never know he was one and done and potential top pick in the draft. You watch him practice. He competes in any drill that we do to win. He's been a terrific teammate. He's been a very humble teammate that is all about the team, and he knows he's not going to be here long. And that, I think, is what really has made him special. And Lonzo's a guy that he'll beat you by getting 5 steals a game. He'll beat you by getting 10 rebounds a game. If you tell him to score, Lonzo could put up 30 if that's what you want him to do, and you're not going to stop him from doing that. I just don't think that's his DNA. I think he enjoys the pass and allowing somebody else to look good, and that's what makes him a great teammate.
But when you sat down with Lonzo and his family, they told you that he's stopping through UCLA and that it was going to be one and done. You knew that up front.
No, I don't think that was really ever discussed. To be honest with you, I just think they come in June, and after about a couple practices, you can kind of assume he's not going to be in college very long. But we've watched him over the last 2 years as well, and so we knew in the recruiting process that he wasn't going to be in college long. That's the era that these kids are growing up in now, and some of these kids that leave school early, you kind of shake your head at. Lonzo, that's a little bit different because I think he's elite, and I think he's very special.
How's Leaf today?
He's good. I haven't seen him today, obviously, but it was just a sprain. It wasn't anything, I think, serious. So we'll see what happens on Saturday, but we fully anticipate him being back for the Pac-12 tournament.
He's good. He's
very good.
He's a really he's a talented kid. It's all about Lonzo when you see the highlights. And then I tell people, watch a game, and then you'll see what Bryce does. And I said, Leaf is a really, really talented big man.
Well, he really is, Dan, and I think there's been a good blend. Obviously, Lonzo is our key and our engine that makes everything go because of the way he plays, but he's also passing it to guys that make shots. You wouldn't be getting 8, 9 assists a game if you're passing it to guys that can't make shots. And you got Bryce making a high level of shots, Isaac Hamilton, Aaron Holiday, Tommy Welsh hardly ever misses a shot that you throw it to him. You throw lobs to EK, and he's making a high percentage of those. And then you got a stretch 4 in TJ, who he's making 63% of his shots, 46% of his threes, and he's a double-double machine. So we've got a lot of weapons that, complement what and how Lonzo plays, I think.
Well, don't screw up my bracket, all right?
There's a lot of people in Westwood and L.A. saying the same thing, so I hope you're right. I hope we don't.
Steve, good to visit with you. Thanks for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
I appreciate you having me on, Dan. My wife's a big DP groupie, so watches you every morning while I'm at work, so I appreciate it.
Steve, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, Steve Alford. There you go. Yeah, that female demographic, I'd just kill. Coaches' wives. Jim Boeheim's wife watches all the time. That's my wheelhouse, right? That's my demo.
Coaches' wives?
Yeah, absolutely. They love this show. Can't get enough of it. By the way, Steve Alford is courtesy of Continental Tire, Coach's Corner. If you're in need of replacing your 2 tires, make sure that you put them in the rear of the vehicle, not in the front, because you don't want to be braking in wet conditions and fishtailing there, Paulie. For consistency, it's best to replace all 4 tires at the same time.
Thanks, Dan.
For more information, visit ContinentalTire.com. Continental Tire, for what you do.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.